Welcome back to MovieCast, everyone. I'm your host, Liam Harrison, and today we're diving deep into something that doesn't feel like a normal Marvel trailer at all. The second leaked trailer of Avengers Doomsday doesn't try to excite you with flashy action or heroic one-liners. Instead, it sits heavy. It breathes slowly. It almost feels like the universe itself is afraid. From the very first frame, there's a sense that this story isn't about winning anymore. It's about survival, loss, and inevitability. Marvel is quietly telling us that this time, the threat isn't just physical, it's existential. Reality feels thin, unstable, like glass about to shatter. And standing at the emotional center of this storm is a character we thought had already been through everything, Thor. But this version of Thor feels different, older, softer, tired, and terrified. Not of dying, but of losing the last thing he loves. This trailer isn't teasing another Avengers team-up. It's teasing the end of something sacred. And to understand why Marvel made such a bold choice, we need to start by understanding the tone they've set, because tone is everything here. The overall atmosphere of the second Avengers Doomsday trailer is undeniably dark and apocalyptic, but not in the loud, destructive way we've seen before. There are no cities exploding in slow motion, no armies clashing in wide shots. Instead, the darkness comes from silence, from long pauses, from visuals that feel wrong. The background score is slow and haunting, almost like a funeral hymn for the multiverse itself. It creates the uncomfortable sense that something fundamental is breaking, not just one universe, but the rules that hold all universes together. This is Marvel signaling that the villain of this story operates on a god-tier level, beyond Thanos, beyond any earthbound threat. Interestingly, the trailer never directly names Dr. Doom. There's no dramatic reveal, no close-up of the mask, and yet his presence is everywhere. In every distorted frame, in every whispered line, in Thor's quiet prayer. It feels like the universe knows Doom is coming before the heroes do. This restraint is intentional. Marvel wants Doom to feel inevitable, like a cosmic force rather than a man. And that makes everything that follows feel heavier, because you're not watching heroes prepare for a fight. You're watching them brace for the end. At the heart of this trailer, cutting through all that cosmic dread, is Thor. But this isn't the Thor we met in earlier phases. He's no longer defined by his hammer, his lightning, or his bravado. This Thor is defined by what he fears losing. For the first time in the MCU, Thor is framed not as a warrior or a king, but as a father. His scenes are quiet, almost intimate. We see him standing alone, speaking not to an enemy, but to the memory of Odin, a god praying to another god. That alone tells you how desperate he is. Thor isn't asking for glory or victory. He's asking for peace. He wants a life where he can raise love, where battles are behind him, where the universe finally leaves him alone. After centuries of war, loss, and responsibility, his dream is painfully simple. And that simplicity is what makes it tragic. Because the trailer makes one thing very clear. That dream will not be allowed to exist. Dr. Doom's arrival isn't just a threat to reality, it's a direct threat to love herself. And Thor knows it. You can see it in his eyes. This is the most vulnerable Thor we've ever seen, because for the first time, he has something that can truly be taken away. The deeper implication hinted at in the trailer is terrifying. Love is not just a child Thor cares about. She is a cosmic anomaly. She carries power directly tied to eternity itself. That alone makes her one of the most valuable beings in the multiverse. And if you connect the dots Marvel has been quietly laying, Dr. Doom doesn't just want to destroy reality. He wants to reshape it, to rule over what comes after. The idea that Doom could be hunting beings like love to fuel the creation of something like Battleworld fits perfectly with what we've seen teased elsewhere. Especially when you remember the post-credit scene from Fantastic Four, First Steps, where Doom appears before a 4-year-old Franklin Richards, removing his mask not as a threat, but as a calculated move. Doom understands power, but more importantly, he understands potential. Franklin and Love represent raw creation energy. If Doom can control that, he doesn't need to conquer the multiverse. He can rebuild it in his image. That's why Thor is pulled back into the fight. Not out of duty, but out of fear. Because this time the battlefield isn't a planet or a realm. It's his family. This context completely reframes Thor's prayer to Odin. He isn't asking for strength to win a war. He's asking for the power to protect his child from something that shouldn't even exist. The Odin force, long hinted at but never fully explored, suddenly feels like a last resort, a forbidden inheritance. Thor knows the cost of godly power. He's seen what it did to Odin, how it isolated him, how it turned leadership into loneliness. But desperation changes priorities. Thor is willing to risk himself, his soul, even his future, if it means love survives. That's what makes this version of Thor so compelling. He's not chasing revenge like he did against Thanos. He's not trying to prove himself worthy. He's fighting against fate itself. And the trailer subtly suggests that this fight might demand more than he can give. The way Thor is framed, often in shadows, often alone, hints at a coming sacrifice. Marvel isn't just building him up as a hero. They're preparing us to say goodbye, whether we realize it yet or not. Marvel's decision to place Thor at the emotional center of Avengers Doomsday isn't accidental. Thor is the MCU character who has endured the most cumulative loss. His mother was murdered. His father died. His brother died more than once. His closest friends fell. His home was destroyed. His people were slaughtered. Again and again, Thor has been stripped of everything that defined him. And yet he survived. Not unchanged, but still standing. Love represents the first time since Asgard's fall that Thor has been allowed to rebuild something personal, something fragile, something hopeful. By putting that at risk, Marvel ensures the audience feels the stakes instantly. We don't need exposition to understand Thor's pain. We've lived it with him for over a decade. When Thor hurts, it doesn't feel like fiction. It feels earned. That's why he's the perfect emotional anchor for a story about the end of reality. Because if even Thor can't endure what's coming, what hope does anyone else have? Doom isn't just threatening the multiverse. He's threatening the one thing that made Thor believe the universe was still worth saving. The parallels to Infinity War are impossible to ignore, and they're clearly intentional. Back then, Thor's journey was framed as a desperate race against time. He lost Loki, lost half his people, and forged Stormbreaker not just as a weapon, but as a symbol of vengeance. His entrance in Wakanda was thunderous, heroic, almost triumphant. For a moment, it felt like hope had returned. And then, in a single snap, it all meant nothing. Avengers Doomsday echoes that structure, but twists its meaning. This time, Thor isn't racing to arrive in time. He's dreading the moment he has to step onto the battlefield. In Infinity War, Thor believed killing Thanos would fix everything. Now he knows better. Some wounds don't heal. Some victories come too late. The trailer positions Thor once again as a last hope, but a reluctant one. The lightning feels heavier. The power feels borrowed. And instead of confidence, there's fear. That shift tells us Marvel is preparing a story where brute strength won't be enough, where emotional resolve matters just as much as godly power. As the trailer unfolds, it becomes clear that Thor's role in Avengers Doomsday goes far beyond support. He isn't just another Avenger on the roster. He's a direct counter to Dr. Doom's philosophy. Doom believes control is the answer. That order must be imposed even if it costs lives. Thor, through love, represents the opposite. Choice. Hope. The idea that the universe is worth saving, not because it's perfect, but because of the connections within it. That ideological clash is far more dangerous than any physical fight. And Marvel loves conflicts like that, because they force characters to confront not just enemies, but themselves. The trailer hints that Thor may be faced with an impossible decision: protect love and risk reality, or sacrifice what he loves to save everything else. That's where the true tension lies. Not in who wins the battle, but in what the victory costs. And knowing Marvel's history, they don't shy away from tragedy when it serves the story. The most chilling aspect of the trailer is how it frames inevitability. There's a sense that no matter what the heroes do, something irreversible is coming. The multiverse fractures don't look like wounds that can be healed. They look like symptoms of a dying system. Dr. Doom doesn't need to rush. He doesn't need to announce himself. Time itself is on his side. And Thor feels that. His prayer isn't hopeful. It's resigned, almost apologetic, as if he knows he's asking for more time than the universe is willing to give. That emotional weight transforms the trailer from a hype piece into a warning. Marvel isn't promising us victory. They're promising us consequences. And Thor stands at the center of that promise, not because he's the strongest Avenger, but because he has the most to lose. When you connect all these layers, the picture becomes painfully clear. Avengers Doomsday isn't just about stopping Dr. Doom. It's about confronting the cost of godhood, the burden of love, and the limits of sacrifice. Thor's journey encapsulates all of that. From a prince seeking glory, to a king burdened by loss, to a father fighting for his child, Thor's arc mirrors the MCU itself. A universe that started with hope and wonder and now faces the consequences of its own scale. If Thor does make a final stand, it won't be framed as a heroic death. It will be framed as a choice. A choice to protect love in a universe that no longer values it. And that's what makes this trailer so powerful. It's not telling us how the story ends. It's asking us to feel what it costs to get there. So as Avengers Doomsday approaches, the real question isn't whether Dr. Doom can be stopped. It's whether the universe can survive what it takes to stop him, and whether Thor can survive losing the last piece of his heart. If this truly is his final chapter, Marvel is making sure it's not about spectacle, but about meaning. About a God who just wanted peace, and a universe that wouldn't let him have it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of the MCU, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to MovieCast. This is Liam Harrison, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.